Okay, my mental space right now is all over the place. I was up most of the night with my 2-year-old because she was throwing up and it was just one of those nights. So she's on the mend, she'll be okay, but it just was one of those nights that I'm like, this is what it was like to have a newborn. Wow, I don't even know how I survived that. I don't know how any of us have ever survived that. But today I do have my coffee. This is my 3rd cup of coffee. So anyways, cheers if you had a similar night to mine where you were up a lot for whatever reason. But today I have a whole bunch of goodies that are things that were cult classics. They were products that were just huge at one time or another years ago. And I was curious to either try them for the first time or try them again years later to see what I think about them now. My own personal tastes have changed when it comes to makeup. I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure a lot of your guys' tastes have changed a lot too. So just to kind of see how they hold up versus all of the other things I've tried over the years. So I asked y'all on Instagram, as usual, what products that you think of when you think of like cult makeup favorites. And I bought a bunch of them and that's what we have. I'm so excited. So I was already kind of like messing with a few of these. So we're gonna start with probably the thing I'm the most excited to try again. And that would be the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. This is one of the most famous foundations, especially in that higher price point, because it's supposed to be absolutely the most long wearing foundation ever. It's got good coverage, like all of that. And so this is what it looks like. I don't think the packaging has changed in ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's always looked like this, at least in my memory. And I got the shade 1 in 2, which is called Ecru. I actually have no idea how to say that. So we're gonna give it a try. I actually think it might be a decent shade match. We're gonna see. I had ordered another product for another video later and the shade is so hilariously wrong for me. I went back and looked, I'm like, why did I order this shade? And I still don't know why I ordered that shade, but I'm gonna have to redo that one. So I'm gonna apply this with the sponge. Obviously you can get higher coverage with the brush, but I have a feeling the coverage will not be the issue with this because again, it's meant to be super long wearing, long lasting. I don't really even remember how I felt. Let me rephrase. I remember thinking that this was kind of not my steez. Like it was maybe too much coverage. I don't know if that's enough or not. We're just gonna start with that. Okay, so I do think I need more. I mean, okay, so without and with, it only covered a little bit. So I really do feel like you need a lot more than what I thought. Okay, hate this kind of bottle. I know that they do sell a pump. So if that's something you might be interested in, or maybe, I don't even know if it's Estee Lauder that sells it, but like someone makes a pump that fits on it. If Estee Lauder were smart, if they don't make a pump yet, they should, because they're missing out on that. And that furthers my claim that this has not changed in 1,000 years because it's still this like dump kind of glass bottle. All right, so wow, I have to say this. I've been using this newer moisturizer the past few weeks from Kapari, and it's their, oh, let me grab it because now I don't remember what it's called. Hold on. The Kapari Coconut Water Moisture Cream, and it really, really moisturizes your skin. And so I feel like if I hadn't put that on underneath this, it might look a little dry, but look at how healthy it looks. Because from my memory of this, it was kind of, I don't want to say it was drying, but I feel like a lot of crazy long wearing full coverage foundations just tend to make my skin look a little drier. I do have a normal to dry skin type. So this is really nice if you're looking for a good moisturizer. It's kind of gel-like, but man, it just makes my skin look awesome. It's got some really good ingredients in it too. Kapari is a little bit, it's a more natural brand, but they use a lot of coconut. And I love coconut. So anyway, I have a feeling I'm gonna be all over the place in this video. Apologies ahead of time. Okay, so I haven't done my forehead yet, but what? Like this looks so nice. I just feel like it covered everything. It doesn't look too weird on my nose. Hold on, let me get up in there. Lately, I've been noticing that I'll get the like, you know, the line from where your foundation ends and the inside of your nose begins. So I've been trying to get up in there more often. Don't worry, I'm the only one using the sponge. So I am pretty floored at how not drying it looks. Again, it could be that because I have this moisturizer underneath, but this, I always have a pretty decent moisturizer underneath my foundation. So at least for me, that wouldn't be an issue. And I'm just really liking the coverage. I was prepared to maybe say to myself like, oh, this would be a good, you know, event type makeup, but like this is looking nice for every day. This does not look like a mask, which is what I felt like I remember this looking like. I don't know why. So I am very, very, very happy with this. That is so exciting. Another one that I got so many questions about was the YSL Touche Eclat Radiant Touch Concealer. Now, I have to admit, I was very tempted to buy a different version of this. They have one that's like higher coverage. So it's the same idea, but it has a little bit more concealer qualities to it, because really the idea behind this has always been, I feel like I always used it as a concealer, but really the idea was that it was supposed to brighten, but it really wasn't meant to be a like higher coverage concealer. But really pretty luxe packaging. This is something I always struggle to spend money on because it's really expensive for what it is, and unless you really love it and you're gonna like use it up, it's hard for me to justify the price tag. I found some similar products at the drugstore. Do they still make the like Dream Lumi concealer? Because I loved that. I loved that stuff. I really feel like those are so similar. Number 7 also, again, assuming they still make it, because this was a few years ago that I like fell in love with these. The number 7 like radiant concealer is the exact same thing. It's one of those like pen style things. Takes 10 years to get it going. But I will say, I might eventually try that higher coverage one because I like the idea that it's a little more luminous and radiant. What is going on? And this is just not quite, like I said, not quite as much coverage, but I do still like it. And it's been a hot minute since I've tried it, so I'm kind of excited. So I'm just gonna kind of put it in the areas I want to brighten. This is something that's also nice from what I remember to like put in areas of your face you might wanna brighten also. And you can see already, it's not a high coverage type product. So it's really good for those kinds of things. I don't always do this, but I bought the shade, by the way, 2.5. I think I'm gonna use my fingers at least for one side because this is so light coverage. I feel like if I use a sponge, it's just gonna absolutely blend it away completely because it'll soak a lot of it up. But that blended in so fast. You can see, I mean, it's not covering everything I need to cover, but it definitely looks a lot nicer. But then you ask yourself, is it really worth the price tag then? But I think if you're someone that you just want a little on your under eye and you're not a big fan of using a lot of coverage under there, this is such a cushy, easy, and still pretty product that can kind of brighten that area, but it's not gonna look, because it doesn't have high coverage, it never ends up looking like crepey or weird because it's just so luminous and thin. I feel like I woke up this morning with like 2 new stress breakouts just from last night. Is it possible for it to happen that fast? I would say if you're not even sure that you would like this product, and I'm sure this is what I said years ago, I would say buy one of the dupes first and see if you like it. Because if you end up buying this and you're like, oh, this isn't enough coverage for me or whatever, well, that's a hefty price tag to have spent to not like it. That's just my advice. I was gonna say sisterly advice. Sisterly, motherly, auntly, friendly, whatever Lee you want me to be for you. I'm finally starting to feel, by the way, comfortable in this newer space. I still wanna adjust some things. I'm not totally happy with this side and I'll figure it out, but I'm finally feeling like I can not feel as weird in front of the camera, and I can't explain it, but anytime I'm filming in a space that's not my normal space I'm used to, I feel stiff. Like I just feel like odd. And so it just usually takes me a couple of videos and then, so now I feel like the wheels are turning and I feel like, okay, like this is my new filming space. Get used to it. But I did turn off that pink light. I might have it on in some videos. I'm just trying out different things. Some of you guys said it was a little distracting. It is. It's funny when it's on, you can't even really tell that it's pink, which is a bummer because it's so pretty, but I like having a little light over there, so we'll see. But this, I think this looks nice too. Alrighty, so I continued on with my makeup. I threw on the Benefit Gimme Brow on my brows. I used some of the ColourPop Quad in Cream Soda and some of the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette on my eyes, and the Revolution Renaissance Flick liquid liner, one of my favorites, like $9. I think they still sell it at Ulta. So that's what I've done so far. I wanna throw on mascara. So this is one that a surprising amount of people mentioned, the CoverGirl Clump Crusher. This is their, Clump Crusher Lash Blast Volume, whatever. But a lot of you guys said the CoverGirl mascara in the orange tube. Okay, I'm editing this and I realized as I was trying to find like links and stuff, this orange mascara I'm trying is not the Clump Crusher, and I will call it Clump Crusher throughout the entire video, so sorry ahead of time. It's actually the Lash Blast Volume, but I thought it was called Clump Crusher, but most of you guys kept saying the CoverGirl mascara in the orange tube. So I feel like I was still trying one of the cult classics. I just clearly didn't know what it was called. Okay, sorry. And I do remember this so vividly being such a big mascara. I feel like this was like the past decade's mascara that everyone had tried and you either loved or you hated, but it was a very popular one. I remember not being crazy wowed by this. Like I never thought it was bad, but I don't remember ever, well, I know I didn't love it because I never felt like recommending it or buying it more or anything like that. I did just recently do a like head-to-head competition of drugstore mascaras video. If you want to see what my favorites are, I will link that video. It was so much fun. I have quite a few drugstore mascaras that I think are so unbelievably good that I use every single day, hands down. And this has not been one of them, but we're gonna see. So it's got a synthetic brush, and the idea is that it's really supposed to be able to crush dem clumps. So we're gonna see. And this is fresh out of the tube, which sometimes is not ideal for some formulas. So far, it's like catching a lot of my lashes. Wouldn't you say, just watching that, like it caught a lot of my like little lashes and pushed them up and made them a little blacker. I know you're supposed to like wiggle at the base, and I usually do a couple times when I'm applying mascara, but the rest of the time I'm just trying to coat the upper lashes too, and you know, get the tips and the underside. And so zooming you in, doesn't that look really good? Like it's separated, it's fanned out. I've been using a lash serum that's really expensive, but man, I love it and it's making a difference. And I just feel like every mascara I've tried lately, I've been liking, and I think it's because my lashes are just healthier, there's more of them, and I've never really consistently used a serum, and now that I am, I'm like, I'm addicted because they look so much better. But that looks so nice. As I'm continuing to put this on, I definitely feel like my eyes could use it. Well, of course I'm tired too, but I definitely feel like I could use a little bit more concealing in the concealer area. You know, just looking, I'm like, yeah, I just feel like as I'm putting on a full face of makeup, that's the one thing standing out to me that like for every day, I don't know that the YSL Touche Eclat is enough for me and like what I like. So I think the biggest thing with this is if you really like the more fanned out, very separated lash look, you will love this. If you need your mascara to, I don't want to say clump your lashes together, but if you need a little more volume and you're not quite as worried about them being perfectly separated, you might not like this. And I think that's why when my lashes were a little bit more sparse, I think that's why I didn't love this, because I felt like I personally wanted a little more volume. And this adds some volume, but it really, its biggest strength is the separating of the lashes. So cannot wait to try this next one. This is the Airspun powder. It was really between this and the Laura Mercier translucent loose setting powder. I love that stuff. I've used it for years. I really do feel like it makes a difference in the longevity of your makeup, but it's still a loose powder, and like anything, I feel like you can see the powder on your skin, especially if you have like peach fuzz and stuff. So it's just something to know about any powder. And I've heard the same thing about this one, that it really helps with the longevity, but it's still gonna look like a powder. So I got the original formula, it says, but it's in the naturally neutral shade. They have like translucent, and I don't know. There were not many options, I can tell you that. The thing right off the bat is the smell. Gosh, almost made me cough right away. It's very strong. You probably know that, but if you don't, it's very strong. If you think you may be sensitive to any sort of fragrance, I would avoid this at all costs. And I wonder, you know, if this really is as good as everyone says it is, I wonder if that's why it's still around and people love it, but it's not a lot of people's holy grail because the smell is just so there. So I tapped a little bit into the thing here. I'm just using this EcoTools brush. I can link it below. I think it's like their powder brush. And with that amount, we'll just do the T-zone first and just kind of see. So it definitely like mattified that area pretty well. You can still see a little bit of sheen because we didn't go crazy. If you really wanted it to be caked on like a baby doll's face, you can use their powder puff. You can get your own. I mean, you can buy packs of powder puffs on Amazon for really cheap, and they're a lot nicer than that one that this comes with. Let's do the nose. I definitely feel like it made my nose look more blurred, which I can always use the help with on my nose. And like, I actually think it looks better. And not every loose powder does that for me. So that's exciting. I'm gonna end up I'm gonna end up having a powder for my under eye, a powder for the rest of my face, and a powder for my nose, and this will be my nose powder. Because that, I mean, it's really blurring. So let's just get a little bit over here. You know, there's a reason powders have been around for a while. It really can soak up oil, obviously, but it helps with the makeup staying. And if you're even trying to battle a mask staying on your skin, the only way it's gonna have a chance of staying typically would be a really good powder. So, and a good foundation or whatever you're wearing too, but the powder is gonna be the thing that kind of helps lock it in so it has a chance. I like that. I don't feel like my peach fuzz you can still see, but it's not as, I don't know, like it's not as crazy noticeable. Maybe it's because I used a lighter hand too, but I'm kind of surprised. The other thing to know, I love that they've kept the old school look. I have to say, it's so wonderfully vintage, and I think that is so just awesome. But it does just come right off. So this is not something you're gonna stick in like a makeup bag you take with you anywhere. But if it's on your vanity or, you know, in a drawer or something, it would be okay. And of course, you could dump some of this into like a smaller jar and that closes, and then you'd be able to take it with you. But yeah, I'm gonna keep playing with that. I'm more impressed than I thought I would be. Honestly, my expectations were in the gutter. Not that it'd be bad, but that I just wouldn't like it. I don't know. So I got the mini of this because I used to own it, and the one I had, I don't remember if it was too old or I wasn't reaching for it. Well, now a few years have passed, and I remembered liking this, but I've tried so many bronzers since then. I'm curious how this stands up. I mean, that's the whole point of this video, right? So this is the Benefit Hoola bronzer. They now have Hoola Light. I think they have a couple other options too, like a glowy version, etc. But this is kind of a medium bronzer, and we're just gonna see if we like it. I'm gonna use my Eco Tools. It's a blush brush, but since this is smaller, I need something a little smaller to kind of fit in there. Okay, it's more pigmented than I remembered. I mean, I could make it work, but you know, that came on a little stronger than I expected, which is not a bad thing. It's like one of those things about products that you have to know whether you need to build it up or whether you need to be using a light hand. Side note, totally off topic. I recently bought my daughter some Crocs, okay? We're the weird family that likes Crocs, and we don't like, I'm not wearing them to the store. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think go with the flow. If you wanna wear your Crocs to the store, go for it. But we love them for like just walking out in the backyard. I have some that are like lined with like a fleece material I love. So when I'm popping out like on our little back deck with Genevieve or just with a cup of coffee, that's what I grab. I slip them on and I just go in the backyard. My husband loves them. He's the one that got me into them, and he does them for the same thing, like if he's out gardening or just whatever. Well, my daughter loves them too because you can just slip them on, but she was outgrowing her old ones. So we bought her new ones, and I don't remember what store. I think it was Rack Room Shoes. And I lost the receipt. Okay, this looks pretty nice though, right? I do think, I feel like the one I had must have been older, or they've improved the formula, because I feel like I always felt like I had to build this up. I don't remember, but that was really nice. I feel like it blended in pretty well as I needed to, like when I applied it a little heavy at first. And it definitely gives that definition and warmth to my face, which is why I freaking love bronzer. So honestly, this Eco Tools blush brush worked really well with this. And I liked that it was kind of the perfect shape for bronzer. So now I'm like, I've been using this for blush. Maybe I'll use it for bronzer instead. Definitely, I don't even think you need to get the big size if you don't want to. You get the small one. I think it's really nice. It does come with a little brush that's not great for it, but you could totally make it work if you needed to, you know? Anyway, so my daughter broke the shoes. Well, she didn't. They just broke. Like the first time she wore them, the little thing of the Crocs, hers were like gold and sparkly and so cute. The thing in the Crocs broke. And so I'm like, what? And they were not cheap because hers, I think I got her the fleece lined and they were like glittery. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I contacted crocs.com without thinking that that's not where I bought them. I bought them at like another shoe store. And they were like, well, we need your receipt. And I'm like, crap. And I'm like, and I didn't even buy them there. So now I've got to reach out to Rack Room Shoes and see if like they'll believe me. I'm like, I promise I bought them. I just don't have the receipt, you know? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I want to get them replaced because they were so expensive, but I don't know why I didn't keep the receipt. I know I just used like powder, but I'm going to use this cream. It's the Honest Beauty Cream Blush in Rose Pink. It's just a favorite of mine, and it applies actually pretty easily over powder too. And it stays really well throughout the day. And I think originally when I bought this, I bought it on Target's either site or at the store, something like that. But now Ulta carries some of this. So you could get this on Ulta if you'd rather. A little bit goes a long way. And it has a kind of nice, like slight smell, but I like it. And then I usually at the very end kind of melt it in like this. And then I'm just gonna use the Rare Beauty liquid highlight that I was trying in a very recent video where I tried a bunch of Rare Beauty. I liked it. It's got a nice sheen to it. And again, I think it does pretty well over like powder and stuff because you're just tapping it right in where it is. You know what I mean? Two more things. A lot of you guys asked about the All Nighter Urban Decay spray. So this is one of the few I genuinely think does add to the longevity of your makeup. So when you're pairing a loose powder with this, you're really giving your makeup a chance to last. I've tried so many setting sprays over the years and I don't think they're all created equally. And so this one I like. They have so many different sizes of this. There's like this smaller size. They have like the regular size. I think they have a jumbo size, so you can get whatever you want. It's always had a very fine mister. I really feel like with this, I really can coat my face evenly, and I'm not worried about like tiny dots of this setting somewhere. But if you are with any setting spray, you can always just grab your sponge and press everything in where it is, and that'll kind of evenly disperse that setting spray. The magic of a setting spray is that if you do feel like your powder is kind of sitting on top of your skin, this is the magic potion that like gets everything to melt together, and it looks a little less mask-like, and it makes it kind of look like your skin. I feel like since I've been using a lot more powder lately, like when it comes to like setting my face, I really should get back into it. So I'm excited to have this again. The last thing we're gonna try is from NARS. It's their Audacious lipstick. This is one of my favorite formulas, and a lot of you guys have asked when I put this out there about this formula and if it's worth it because it's expensive. It's an expensive lipstick line. I have another shade called Raquel. Let me grab it and swatch them. And Raquel is a little bit lighter. I like it, but sometimes it looks a little weird on my lips because it's just slightly lighter than my lips. So I was excited to get one that's like a little bit like punchier color-wise for me. This is the shade Audrey, and it was described as like a, I don't know, kind of plummy, deeper berry color. I'm sure that's not at all how it was described, but in my head, that's what I was ordering, so. But the packaging is pretty sleek. It's just black and it's got the NARS around it, and this magnetizes to it so it feels higher end. And then it's got the NARS kind of embossed or engraved, whatever, in the actual bullet. So we're gonna try this. I need a lip liner. I don't trust myself. Okay, this is Soar and it's a little bit light, but you know what? I don't have a berry color. So that's something, this is gonna be a little light, but at least I'll have a better idea of where my lip stops. You know what I mean? I need to get a deeper berry tone, I guess. One of you guys said that when you hear me, this is one of my favorite lip liners. It's just for my lip color, it works really well. And I really do need to sharpen this. Well, there's my sharpener. Side note, I mentioned this before, but the NARS sharpener is the best one I've ever tried. I now own 2 of them, and they're like $6, but they're good. Like they're both really, it's a strong sharpener. Nothing ever breaks in there. And it's got a nice sized one, a larger one, and then the normal sized one. And it's so good, you guys. It's such a smooth sharpener. Anyway, one of you guys mentioned anytime I say I'm using MAC Soar lip liner, you picture in your head that it's Soar as in S-O-R-E, and you get so grossed out. I'm like, okay, that is hilariously gross. And now I can't unknow that, so thank you. Sometimes I will take whatever lip liner I was using, like this one we know is not the right color, but I had a little bit of extra lipstick there, and instead of wiping it off, I just kind of got it on the pencil and just swiped it elsewhere where I needed it. Works pretty well. It's a little bit deeper than I expected. I was hoping for more, well, but I still like it. And I feel like in the fall and winter, what a kind of unique color. I feel like they have so many shades. The color here is a moot point. Let's talk about the formula because it's definitely a very classic lipstick feel. Like it feels like bullet lipsticks that we've had around for decades at the drugstore. High end doesn't really matter, but these do feel like they are a little more comfortable than some of the ones I've tried. They're a little bit creamier, but without being too creamy, because sometimes lipsticks that feel really good when they go on end up all over the place because they're just very emollient and they're just too creamy. You know what I mean? They just glide outside of the lip line. So this is still gonna be a traditional lipstick that transfers onto, you know, a coffee cup or whatever, or if you're kissing on someone, I don't know. It does feel comfortable, and it definitely feels like a more long wearing lipstick. You're still gonna need to touch it up and reapply, but it feels nice and I feel like it looks nice for hours. I think if you were dying to buy like one lipstick shade that's gonna be like your everyday go-to, this is definitely a nice line to look at because they have a lot of options and it's a very good lipstick. I've tried so many and it's definitely one of my top 3 like favorite lipstick formulas. So I might end up getting like a blue toned red. Someone's watching me film right now. Just me, a dweeb. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Anyway, but yeah, I do recommend this line though. I love it. Okay, so I like to, at the end of these kinds of videos, share my top like 2 or 3 picks because it can be overwhelming even when I'm trying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different products. It can be overwhelming to watch that and be like, okay, what have I gleaned from this video? You know what I mean? It's just a lot. Here are my top picks. Definitely the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I am surprised. I'm just surprised at how natural and healthy it still looked while still giving that coverage. It applied easily. I am very impressed by this and I know myself and I will be using this tomorrow. Like I already know that. So it's just, I was very excited about this. Highly recommend. The All Nighter Setting Spray. It's a cult classic for a reason. I really think it does exactly what it says it's supposed to do. And most setting sprays don't. And that's why this one has been around for so long. So definitely recommend, if you're not even sure if you're gonna like it, get the smaller one like I did. Get that, use that the whole way up, and then if you love it, then maybe get the bigger one. I'm torn because nothing I tried was terrible, but I think I would go with the NARS lipstick. This was no surprise to me, however, because I already knew I liked the formula, but I just feel like now I've got 2 shades that I like both, but neither of them are like my favorite thing on me, but the formula is. So I'm still on the hunt to get better shades that I will use. So let me know if you have like favorites from this line. So I hope that this was enjoyable. I love sharing these kinds of videos with you guys. If you have video ideas, I'm kind of right now working on my next month's schedule of videos that I'll be planning and doing for you guys here on my channel. Let me know if you have specific videos you'd love to see, whether it's like a video topic like this one, maybe it is a chatty video idea topic, maybe it's a brand or a specific product you'd like to hear more about. Let me know below. I would love to do that for you guys and add it to my list. And as usual, I'd love to say hey to you over on my Instagram. It is at It's Jessica Braun. I'd also love if you subscribed. I upload 3 videos a week and I will see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.